What up, Los Estados Unidos? Jericho Green here with you again. And I get positive feedback from the stories that I tell from my time in the Navy or my upbringing. So let's do it again. This time, I'm going to tell you the story of how my best friend growing up, David, broke his ankle at my house the very first time his parents let him stay the night at somebody's house. So, yeah, growing up, David, that was my right-hand man. You know, we were Riggs and Murtaugh, you know what I mean? And I'll have another reference to Lethal Weapon later in this story. But that was my boy. You know, we had fun together. We got in trouble together. We got our ass whipped together. We had fun. Your typical all-American boys playing outside, getting rough, scraping our knee, jumping bikes off of ramps and shit. So we're about 8 years old. It's about 1989. And David's parents finally let him stay the night at somebody's house. So, of course, it would be his best friend, me. So he comes to the house. His dad drops him off. You know, we're having fun playing. My dad, I don't remember where he was, but my mom was home. And at my house, we have this really long, steep driveway. So my mom said, the last thing she told us was, don't ride your bike down the driveway. Just walk it down to the bottom. Well, we're two 8-year-old boys, so all we heard was, ride your bike to the bottom of the driveway. Now, not only was this driveway steep, but of course it ended into our street, and there was a bit of a hill, a berm, if you will, so if someone's coming down the road from a certain direction, they wouldn't be able to see if someone was coming down my driveway, so they wouldn't know to slow down and stop until it was too late. So hold up, let me turn down this temperature. I'm in my wife's car, and apparently her body temperature is 30 degrees at all times. There we go. So, what do? We hop on my bike, and the only other bike at my house was my brother's bike, my older brother, and I wasn't about to mess with his bike and take that ass whooping. So, I got on my bike, my red Mongoose. Shout out to the 80s kids who know about the Mongoose. And he got on my big wheel. Now, like I said, 8 years old, so he was a little too big for that shit, but that wasn't going to stop us. So we head down the driveway, and he's in front of me because big wheels don't have brakes on them, so this thing is flying down the driveway in front of me. You can see the little pedals going round and around, and they're going too fast for him to put his feet on them and stop him. And I see a car coming. He sees it too. So the bottom of my driveway, it kind of hooked. So he only had two options. He could either ride the bike out in the street, take the chance of either being hit by or missing this car, or the route he chose, he could stick his foot out and let it hit the curb and stop him. Well, I don't know how fast he was going down the driveway, but it had to be 20 miles an hour or so. And an 8-year-old's ankle is not that strong, people. So he sticks his foot out to hit the curb. It works, but at the cost of his ankle bone. So I'm right behind him. I hit the brakes on my bike, you know, skid mark and all that. And I hop off my bike and I run up to him. And by the time I got to him, which was, I don't know, 5 or 6 seconds, it already looked like he had a tennis ball in his sock. His ankle blew the fuck up instantly. So I'm like, oh shit. I can't go up the driveway and tell my mom that David just fucked his ankle up when she told us 5 minutes ago, don't ride your bike down the driveway. So, like I said before, you know, in the 80s, I watched a lot of action movies with my dad. One thing my dad, my mom, she didn't want us to see like the titty scenes or whatever, the love scenes. But my dad, the violence, the language, he didn't care. So, watching a lot of action movies, I saw Lethal Weapon, and what did Riggs do when he would get his shoulder out of socket? He'd find a stationary object, slam his shoulder into it, and reconnect that shit, right? Relocate it. So I figured, yeah, let me do this to David's ankle. Like I said, tennis ball, people. Look, he had a damn tennis ball inside of his sock. So I placed one hand above the tennis ball and one hand below the tennis ball, and I push and pull in opposite directions. So I go, we'll just put it back in place. You ready? He goes, yeah. 1, 2, 3, boom. I cranked on it. Guess what? Nothing. So So I'm like, shit. I look up the driveway. I can't go tell her. So I was like, hey, let's try it again. Dave goes, okay. So one hand above the tennis ball, one hand below the tennis ball. You ready? Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Boom. I push in one direction, pull in the other. Nothing happens. Dave is fucking screaming in pain. So, yeah, man, had to suck it up. Run up the hill. I don't think I ever ran that fast in my life. Ran up the hill, into the house. I think my mom was in the kitchen or something. I said, David's hurt. David's hurt. So my mom, throws down whatever she had in her hands. I run back down the driveway to be with David, and my mom hops in the truck. Boom. She sees my bike laying at the bottom of the driveway, the big wheel. She put 2 and 2 together, throws David in the truck, takes off, leaves me at home because my dad was going to be home soon. Leaves me at home and takes David to the hospital. So a short time later, my dad comes home. He says, where's your mom? Where's David? I explained to him what happened, and he was like, you're in trouble, son. Ain't nothing I can do about that. You just wait till your mom gets home. It seemed like forever. And there's a saying, the anticipation of death is worse than death itself. Well, let me tell you something even more true. The anticipation of an ass whooping is nothing compared to the ass whooping. But I don't know, I must have took 3-4 years off my life just stressing the fuck out. If I smoked cigarettes at the time, I probably would have blew through a pack. And sure enough, my mom comes home without David because his parents picked him up at the hospital. And my mom was pissed because she told me and him, don't ride your bikes down the driveway. So of course, in true fashion, my mom hooked me up with some quality customer service, and David was not allowed to come over my house for years. Not from my parents' standpoint. I went to his house all the time. But spending the night, Dave was on lockdown for a few years. So kids, if you're listening and you're under the age of 18, sometimes, just sometimes, listen to what the fuck your parents tell you. Now, you know how it goes, people. I try to be done with the left. They just won't let me. They will do some stupid shit. I'll be back. And please make sure you resub and hit that notification bell. YouTube is a bunch of fucking haters. I'm losing subs. Resub. Hit the notification bell. Follow your boy on the Twitters at @Green_Jericho. I'm Jericho Green. And I'm out.